Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Tuesday, October 18th, 2022 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is my individual note is always harmonizing with the harmonies of the universe. And that's what came through today as I was looking at the astro was the harmony of the spheres, which I can't get into because it's way too to simplify it is basically everything in the universe is connecting harmoniously, mathematically with each other, making beautiful divine tones as it's connecting. And we all have our own frequency, our vibration, our note, our sound. And it connects divinely with the sounds, with the harmonies of the universe. And keeping that in mind today will be supportive. So today we are building into our Sun-Pluto square. And so especially as the day goes on, we may start feeling some of that crunch, right? Some of that not so great feeling. That being said, there's some other beautiful energies going on alongside that we can lean into those good feeling things and recognize these Pluto challenges that we come into, these plutonic colonic energies are so necessary to expose the shadows, the pain, the traumas, the triggers that are hiding out, keeping us from fully singing our song. Just to go back to the musical, the harmony of the spheres, back to the musical references. So today we're actually going to have Venus and Mars move into a trine. A trine is a harmonious connection. They really understand each other. Right now Venus is in Libra, Mars is in Gemini. Now Mars is in preparation for a retrograde, coming in, slowing down into this retrograde. In fact, this is the last connection with Venus before this retrograde. And I always think those Venus-Mars touch points are so important because we all have that Venusian yin energy within us, and we all have the more Marsian yang energy within us as well. And I really believe these energies are meant to intertwine and learn how to work together. And unfortunately, that's not something that we've been taught so much in our world. And so what I see astrologically is that Venus does take the lead. You know, Venus, just thinking about it on a literal scale, Venus is moving faster than Mars. So Venus is experiencing things. And from these experiences, Venus gains wisdom, intuition. And so we are meant to listen to our intuition, our feelings with Venus energy, the yin energy. And then the Mars, a little behind, which is fine, is ready to then take that aligned action from the wisdom, the intuition that Venus feeds the Mars, right? And so for all of us, learning to listen to our intuition, learning that our feelings have important messages for us is so important. So then we can take that guided action. But a lot of us have been trained to go against our intuition. So just even starting the process of unlearning that, starting to lean into like, oh, this is what my intuition feels like. Is this my intuition, or is this, a story? All of that is part of this deeper work. Now, right now, Venus and Mars in air signs are not necessarily going too deep into intuition. In fact, Venus and Mars are definitely picking up a lot from outside reflections at this time. Venus working on how do I harmonize? Like, how do I harmonize and balance myself in this world? And Mars is so interesting. I mean, the combination of Libra and Gemini right now is just fascinating because both can fall out of that whack can fall out of whack by not being completely true to themselves. For Venus, it's like, oh, if I'm going to do everything for somebody, for instance, and not care for the self, right? That's not creating harmony within the self. Gemini energy Gemini energy is where we can often chameleon. We all have Gemini within us somewhere that makes us able to chameleon or mimic or twin. And sometimes Gemini energy will do that to form connection. The truth is, you don't have to mimic to form a connection, right? Like, harmonious notes are not necessarily the same note, right? Going back to that reference again. And so noticing where you might be twinning, and sometimes we twin and it's authentic, right? But sometimes we twin and it's not authentic. It's from that place of desiring that connection. It's from that place of desiring that harmony. And so starting to notice this and recognizing you can be in harmony playing your own note, you can be in harmony being your own animal, is important as these energies connect. That being said, this energy is full of strong connections. So watch what is coming up in your reflective relationships. What's coming around for you right now? Because chances are something that you're resonating to or with, excuse me, suddenly getting hoarse, is a reflection for you of where you are at in your individual process. We also have the moon today in Leo. Moon in Leo with Libra stuff. I would say today's a really good day to check your ego, watch your ego, and watch your spending. This energy together can be beautiful, wonderful, but it can definitely move our worth energies into the category of luxurious and glamorous. And so you can have that if you can have that, right? And if that's a line for you. But don't make yourself broke trying to prove your worth to somebody with that. Moon in Leo also brings up inner child stuff. So be on the watch of inner child stuff coming up, especially as we are building into this Pluto square tomorrow. It may be that some of this, the trauma, some of the feels that you're feeling are coming from inner child experiences. Moon and Mercury will be connecting, but not till later in the evening. But definitely potential for ahas around inner child, maybe lack of balance, lack of harmony, or the desire to serve that came up from when you were little. So do pay attention to that. Let's look at these cards. So I found it really interesting. I actually have the Emperor and the Empress show up, yin and yang, right? And here we have the Emperor, the Rebel card, in reverse. And so to me, this feels like it's like the preparation for the retrograde. But here is the yin, like ready to guide the way, leaning into the moon, connecting to the moon. See the Empress reaching for the moon? Thank you, phone, for confirming that. Start listening. Use this time as a time to listen. Gemini is always listening, 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 listening. Are you listening? Are you listening to yourself? Are you tuning into yourself? That's going to be a big thing, I feel like, during this retrograde, even though we're not there yet, but we're getting so close, is how easy it is to pick up information from every outsource. But how often do we truly insource? Taking that time to do that, nurturing that energy. I also have these two cards together. Very interesting. More reversed. The awareness card and the courage card. I think with more awareness comes greater courage. And that might be like kind of the thing is right now, it might not necessarily be about taking the courage to fully show up as yourself or choose your harmony, but like starting building awareness where you may not be doing that. And as that awareness builds, I do think that your courage to like, whoa, this is so out of balance. This isn't harmonious for me. This isn't harmonious in the universe. That courage will come up more and more as you do that. The final card, we are the world. This card is always very interesting when it pops up for me. But again, it comes back to like your place in the world. You have a specific frequency, a specific place in the world. And more and more and more, all of us are just doing that work to step into that frequency, to step into the place. You're not alone in doing this work. You're also not alone in feeling do I have a place? Do I fit? Am I a puzzle piece here? You are. But if you're not feeling like you're fitting, maybe it's because you're still chameleoning or not harmonizing with your own note, with your own frequency. So if you're feeling that, like, where do I belong kind of piece, come bring it back to you. And let's work some of that awareness, courage energy. So I'm going to leave that here for today. You can book a reading with me. Eclipse readings. This is probably winding down your time to get it. I have a few spaces this Friday. And besides that, for the full eclipse reading before the eclipses, that's going to be that. So email me for that or any other reading. Besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and honor your values. Namaste.